for something a little bit different. This isn't a video about landscape photography. Instead, it's a video about making landscape photography videos. I thought I'd share with you some of the things that you don't really see in my normal videos, what it actually means to be making these videos, and of course some of the challenges and some of the things that go wrong. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I've been making these YouTube videos for quite a while now, and I thought I'd just share with you some of the stuff that you don't normally get to see, some of the challenges that are involved in making these videos, and of course some of the things that occasionally go wrong. This isn't a tutorial video, this isn't an how to make landscape photography videos for YouTube. It's just a bit of fun really. So let's get started. And the first thing I want to talk about is gear. Now, landscape photography is already a fairly equipment intensive pursuit. You have to have the camera, you have to have lenses, generally speaking a tripod, maybe some filters, and then sort of all sorts of other bits and pieces of accessories. But if you're also doing video, you need equipment to shoot the video. So you need a camera for doing the vlogging, and with a microphone you need maybe some additional cameras, maybe some additional lenses, and a few other accessories, and of course another tripod. Now I have to carry all of that stuff with me, and I travel fairly light in terms of video gear. My little Canon M50 is pretty small. There are some people using much bigger and heavier video cameras and lenses. Some people are using much bigger tripods for the video purposes, in addition to a big tripod for photography. Some people are carrying things like sliders to get that sort of cinematic effect. And of course a lot of people are carrying drones. I'm not carrying any of that, but nevertheless, my video gear probably adds the best part of 3 kilos, or about 6.5 pounds, to what I'm carrying around, if I take all of it with me, which most of the time I do. And not only am I having to carry that, but I'm also filming myself carrying that. So you've all seen in my videos, and a lot of us landscape photography YouTubers do it, the scene of us walking away from the camera. Of course, I'm out on my own, so the thing you don't normally get to see is me having to come back to get the camera that I've just left behind. And I do that on the flat, which isn't too bad, but I do it on hills as well, and it adds an awful lot of walking and effort to the hike that I'm doing for my landscape photography. Once I'm on location, it's not just a case of setting the camera up and talking to it. I have to move things around. I have to shoot B-roll for a start, you know, those little clips that kind of help to join various parts of the video together, the bits where I'm not talking. And it also helps to sort of distract while you're not looking at me the whole time, and it helps to give you a sense of the place and the conditions and what's going on. But I was talking about the fact that it's not just a case of filming myself from one angle. It gets pretty boring if all you've got is me talking to the camera, you know, from one different angle. So there's quite a lot of filming myself from one angle and then moving the video camera around and shooting myself from a different angle, just to try to make the video more visually appealing than it would be just, you know, just with the one single shot. And then there's this effect that I quite like to use when I'm setting the camera up, where you see me from maybe from a bit of a distance putting the camera on the tripod and getting it into position, but you also see the close-ups of me doing it. And I think that's quite a nice effect. It sort of adds to the storyline. But you want to know how it's done? I'll share the secret with you. So this is the way it's normally done. I normally film myself from a distance, putting the camera on the tripod and getting it into position. I then normally take the camera off of the tripod and I take my GoPro and I stick it in my mouth. And that means I've got both hands free to be able to film the close-up of the camera going on the tripod. And of course then what I have to do is cut all of those bits together, so we hopefully end up with a seamless transition. Now occasionally, of course, I'm just rushing too much and I don't have time to do that. And if you look at this clip, you'll actually be able to see that I'm doing the setup with the GoPro hanging out of my mouth. So quite apart from those tricks and trying to balance setting up the video camera and filming video and talking to it whilst I'm trying to capture the light, which is sometimes changing rapidly, I can normally come back from a trip with plenty of footage and some images. Now I've looked back over my videos, and a typical video for me is about 12 minutes long, average, and has around about 3 images in. Some have a lot less than that, some have a few more, some videos are a bit shorter, some are a bit longer, but sort of 12 minutes and 3 images is about the average for me. So when I get back in, I've got to process the images. Now, I've said before, I'm actually fairly lazy when it comes to processing my images, and I don't spend a lot of time on them. So 3 images on average will take me probably about 30 minutes, so roughly 10 minutes per image. Might take a little bit longer than that if I've done something complicated like focus stacking or exposure merging or panoramas. But roughly 30 minutes for 3 images is about right. That 12-minute video, however, will probably take me somewhere in the region of 3, maybe even 4 hours to edit. Now what I should say is I don't do any colour grading, so I don't change the colour, I don't change the contrast or anything like that on the video. What comes out of the camera is what you get to see. But of course what I do have to do is trim the video clips, put them together, add any transitions in, maybe do some of that sort of cutaway type B-roll that sits over the top of footage of me talking, captions, and of course bringing the images in. So 3.5 to 4 hours for each video. I could probably do it a bit faster if my computer was a bit faster, but at the moment my computer does struggle a little bit with some of the video processing, so it does take a little bit of time. So that's some of the challenges involved in making these videos, but of course it doesn't always go right. So I'm going to wrap this video up with a few clips that have, in most cases, been chopped out of videos. There is one clip in there that did make it into the video, but it's quite an old one, so newer subscribers to the channel may not have seen it before. So this is kind of my outtakes reel, and although I normally do my closing to the video right at the end, today I'm going to make it a little bit different, and I'm going to do my closing now and then show you the outtakes bit. So if you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, sharing it on social media, leave me a comment, I'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you're new here, don't forget about hitting subscribe before you go. So before we go into the outtakes, I just want to say thank you very much for watching, I do appreciate it. And until the next video, bye from me. And now, let's have a look at some outtakes. And I think we've got the best, and there's some people coming, so I'm probably going to get very self-conscious. We'll carry on in a second. Oh! I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do, and you're new here, Don't forget to hit subscribe. Most of them, interestingly, handheld, which is not something you see me doing that often. But it's fun. I've kind of... Let's have a look. For something a little bit different today, this video isn't a video about... So after about 3 years of making these videos, you'd think I'd